All right, so now you've got a bit of an idea what most people are complaining about. And like anything, they've fixed some things, haven't fixed others. They've gone and made investments in areas we haven't even asked for. So let me just recap, because I did this session last year. In fact, I've been lucky enough for Microsoft. I've been doing the introductory session of what's new in Visual Studio every year since 2001. So this is now my 16th year doing this. Shows I'm getting old, doesn't it? It's pretty incredible. But yeah, I just did this up at Ignite on the Gold Coast. So it was fun. I see the same people in the audience this year in, year out. All right, so .NET Core. Well, I talked about this last year, and this is the biggest update since version 1, okay? It's faster. It allows cross-platform development. You can just do it on a Mac, just write your code. So that's showing a bit of love for Macs. We've got cross-platform deployment. We can deploy it to a Linux server. Okay, so Microsoft loves Linux now. And it's open source. So those 4 reasons, which one's the most important to you? Who says the most important to you is the performance reason? It's faster. So just less than a quarter. Who says the fact that I can develop on a Mac or anywhere I want? Okay, less than a quarter. Who says that they want to deploy it to a Linux server wherever they want to deploy it to? Okay, and there we go, 2/3 of the room. And who cares that it's open source? Oh, almost a quarter. Right, okay, cool. Anyway, so there's lots of different reasons. This one certainly improves the perception, doesn't it? And also the ability that you can jump in and look at the code without any problems and try to understand better what's going on. Anyway, so in 2016, when it was released, I said, all right, this is how it works. You got this new project, you can see some different file types. One of the things you're going to be aware of is there's no CSproj. CSproj is gone, we're using project.json. Forget about XML, we're JSON all the way. Forget about web.config, it's config.json. Okay? Forget about packages.config, we're going package.json. All right, so.
I'm back, baby. I'm back, baby.
All right, so anyway, this blog came out recently from Microsoft. When we started building .NET Core and ASP.NET Core, it was important to have a project system that worked across Windows, Mac, and Linux and worked with editors other than Visual Studio. The new project.json project format was created to facilitate this. The feedback from customers was they loved this new project.json model, but they wanted their projects to be able to work with the existing .NET code they already had. So in order to do this, we're making .NET Core become CSproj MS Build based, so it can interop with existing .NET projects. So we're taking the best features of project.json and moving them to CSproj. Okay, welcome back CSproj. So hopefully you didn't spend too much time investing in that stuff. We did. We went live on we went through the betas. I think I made a bad call because we went very early and I didn't know there'd be so many betas and so many RCs. That said, the project went well, but I think the developers really felt under the pump and a bit burnt, okay, because it was meant to be just a couple of RCs and then we were gone. But anyway, so all cool. So forget about this JSON stuff that I said. So it's CSproj, and forget about this config.json, it's web.config, just the old way. All right. Now, and also you can use packages.config, but really I don't think there's much purpose. I think that most people will just not worry about that because that can just go into web application.csproj, so the main CSproj file. I should also mention to you, one of the reasons that people were pretty excited about those JSON files is they were very simple. You didn't need any design. You could just start and put the stuff in there. It was very human readable. So what they did is they went back to the config files and they made them simpler, and you could kind of write them now because they're not as complex as before. So anyway, so if you have the existing files and you've gone early, this will happen. You'll open the folder and this will pop up. It says, hey, you should review your project and solution changes. These projects you've done are either not supported or they need project behavior impacting modifications to open this version of Visual Studio. There's no apology in here. Projects not displayed either. You wouldn't know that you think you've done something wrong and you press OK. You just think, oh, I just read an error message. You don't know that that's going to go and convert something. Anyway, so it goes, if you don't want to do it that way, you can open up the command prompt and go .NET migrate. Nice and simple. This will pop open, you'll get a green message, and that's done. So it's a pretty simple migration back, but just be aware that happens, a one-time piece of pain. Also, last year I told everyone about these DNX, DNVM, KPM, all this infrastructure of running a .NET Core project. So you need a runtime, that's called DNX. You need a version manager, DNVM. And you need a package manager to go and grab all the packages, that's KPM. Can you remember that? All right, so if you watched GitHub, you would see that this was all very transparent. They were making major modifications as we were going along, and we saw this get renamed. So what did we have? You'd download the DNVM, you'd install the DNX, you'd restore your packages with KPM, and then you'd use DNX to run the app. Okay, so 2017, forget about those names. It's now called .NET Run. Forget about that name, it's called .NET Upgrade. Forget about that name, it's called .NET Restore. Is that cleaner? Much cleaner, isn't it? Yeah. And I find it interesting they actually called it .NET Run. They didn't call it .NET Core Run. So to me, that indicates that Microsoft, well, I think that they're thinking, well, this will be .NET, bugger the other one, this could be the way forward they're thinking, just from the names. Anyway, you can see what's going on. They're very transparent up at ASP.NET Home, and they even run their stand-ups on YouTube, called Community Stand-Ups. Anybody watch one of those? With Hanselman, and you watched one. Why didn't you watch another one? Was it fun to watch one?
Yeah, it was actually pretty interesting.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm surprised that more people haven't copied Hanselman and Damien Edwards and done more of these stand-ups that are public. I get to see some of these kind of stand-ups, like recorded videos from the TFS and VisualStudio.com team. And they're really compelling to watch, like really compelling. They do some good things. I find the way that they do it even better than the way Scott Hanselman and Damien Edwards do theirs, which is kind of a chat. All right, so how do we do it now?
What did you learn from seeing that?
Well, Greg, go and watch one and you'll see, but they have some really interesting conversations how they're kind of thinking through the API and stuff. The difference between theirs, which is a lot of conversations about what's coming up in kind of the next sprint, and the way that the TFS team do it, the TFS team do it based on something that will be played at a sprint review for feedback, where you're seeing the sausage kind of get made with the conversations with Scott Hanselman. I will tell you, we do something a little bit similar, and I don't want to get too distracted, but so we have this product called Sugar Learning. And Sugar Learning, each sprint review, the guys working on it, this is just an induction management system, but they do PBIs and they show us the PBIs. But they also, if you look closely down here, where is it? Videos. Some of those videos we put live because they're good enough for other people to see it. So here are some of the here are some of the videos. I'll just go and how do I get to the channel? There's the channel. And so he's added a history view. So let's have a look at this.
Hi, I'm Declan Dovell.
Actually, let's play this one. He's improved the search. And so that's a 2-minute video. It'll be a bit long to go through, but let's have a look. So he's just showing how the search
Hi, my name's Anthony, and today I'm going to show you some of the issue and problem with the way we design our user interface for the search box. The first problem is the add items menu option is hidden under cog menu. So what is requested is we want to have that button
So I won't
visible.
play that all for you, but he walks you through, and then he kind of says, you know, this is how I've gone ahead and fixed it. And, you know, if we're happy with it, we take that during the sprint review. But we just put it up here anyway. All right? And it's a little bit similar with how the TFS team work, which is a bit different from how Scott Hanselman works. Moving forward, this is how we run a .NET Core app now. We go .NET New, .NET Restore, and .NET Run. So that looks pretty simple, isn't it? So let's go ahead here, .NET New. And now we'll go, and that's create a folder, and we'll go .NET Restore, and that's going to go and grab a whole lot of packages. And now we're going to go .NET Run, and that's going to run a command line. And this is a command line prompt, and we get hello world. Now that's the most simplest of projects. So let's go forward and see what's involved with this. We go .NET New, and that creates a folder with a couple of files in, because that's the most simple of all projects. And now we go .NET Restore, and that looks in the CSproj file, finds out what packages are, and goes and grabs them. And then .NET Run. All right? So it builds and runs the project, and in this case, a console app, we just get hello world. Pretty simple, right? So let's go ahead. Are you happy with all the changes? Who's happy with what they're seeing now? Okay. Who wouldn't use this stuff? No? No one? Okay, great.
This is pretty similar to Node.js.
Pretty similar to Node.js. Yeah, good observation. Yes, pretty similar. Microsoft, Mike.
What would happen if you place two .NET applications, EXEs, in a folder and say run .NET Run?
Oh, what are you trying to do?
If you just put the EXEs in a folder and you say .NET Run, it's
Which
not gonna run
which
anywhere because
which
it's
which
a project, right?
which exe?
Well, let's say there was the
So it's looking at the CSproj file.
Yeah.
So you don't put an exe in the folder. This is just if we have a look, we've just got a CSproj file. So you don't put an exe in this folder. It's just we're typing commands in here, but we're not putting .NET into this folder. Yep. So, all right. So that's right. So I want to move on to a web project. So here's a web project because that was a too simple project. So what's the difference? We go .NET New -T web. So -T means template and web. So then .NET Restore, same as what we just did, and .NET Run. Okay, let's have a look at this. Now, be aware that this is now using a new web server. It's using the Kestrel web server. The Kestrel web server is, replaces Cassini and Windows-specific things. Forget about IIS. We're using a Kestrel web server. So let's have a look here. We are going to, in this case, we're going to type .NET New -T web. And then .NET Restore, and it's going to look inside that project and restore all the packages. Now we're going to have a lot more files than those couple. And now .NET Run. And .NET Run will kick open that web server, and then it's going to be, you can see localhost :5000 there. And now it's got a web server running. Okay, so that's what's involved. Now obviously you can do this from the nice GUI, but this is the most basic of basic. So let's, when you run that, you go localhost :5000, that's what you got. That's the default template. Great. So what happened? Let's go back. When we ran that .NET New -T, we got a whole lot of folders there. We got a controllers folders, a views folder. We didn't get a models folder. I think that's a limitation because it would be empty. NuGet cannot add an empty folder. But you can go and add a models folder if you want. You got www root folder with you can put all your images in there. So that's kind of the out-of-the-box experience. And so .NET Restore will go through and restore all those packages, and you can see, the guts of here. We've got MVC. Well, this is for Web API and the guts of it. And then .NET Run, the Kestrel web server runs, and there we go. We can open up a browser and have a look. So if you look closely, you probably never will, and I guess nobody ever does, but if you look here closely, you can see, well, there is the home controller and the index action, and that's being executed there. And then if we look here, we can see this, the views, home, index, CS, HTML being served there. And then if you look further down, there's all the CSS and images and JavaScript files and all those being requested down there. Okay, so summary. It's fast. It's 1.5 million requests per second. Lightning fast, way faster than IIS. It runs on Windows, Linux, and Mac, and that's how you execute it. So we've just been through that. Cool. Who likes the look of that? Yes, everyone. Anybody not? Great, awesome. So now we've got the basics going. You have to kind of work out now, are you going to be using Visual Studio or are you going to be using VS Code? All right, who's using VS Code already? Just a couple. All right, not hardly any. So almost everyone in the room is using Visual Studio, and that's pretty normal, but how many people are doing big JavaScript frameworks like Angular or React or anything like that? Who's going down that path? Can I just see a full show of hands? Who's going down the rich JavaScript route? Just a few. And that's probably why that answer before was very few on VS Code. We'll talk about that. So you need to get up and running in VS Code or get up and running in VS 2017.